I'm Jake Bruton, and welcome to the Build Show. Today, I'm outside of this mysterious two-car garage because I just want to take you on a shop tour. A friend of mine's carpentry shop. Let's do it now. Okay, so if you don't follow Casey Knips, Casey, thanks for having us.
Of course.
Casey Knips on Instagram, right?
Yep.
Instead of being True Fit Carpentry, which it should be.
Talk to my wife about that.
Casey is a one-man operation here in the Minneapolis area.
Yep.
And how would you describe your business? Is it just finished carpentry?
Yep, it's all interior finished carpentry. I deal with more of the specialty mill work.
Casey's incredibly modest. Casey does some really awesome work. And we're in a two-car garage. It is a small shop. So obviously you're not building full kitchen cabinets or anything in here. A lot of your work happens here and then it's an install on site. Yep. I just wanted you to go like, hey, let's walk through and I'll show you the things that I have in here and talk about how the workflow happens in this space and how it is possible.
Yeah.
So we have one door. We have another door that's covered up so that because you don't need two garage doors in here.
Yeah, for me, that was an easy decision because this is a 9-foot wide garage door. I don't build stuff that big, so I needed wall space. This is where I made my clamp wall, and I wanted this here because I have my assembly table right here where I do all of my work. Whether it's rough milling or assembly or gluing, everything happens on this bench.
Talk to me a little bit about kind of the three rough milling machines then.
All of my lumber comes rough sawn. So everything, I would rather straighten it and do all that work at my shop. And this tool here, an SCM 16-inch joiner. Been doing a lot of stair treads that I've been needing at least a 12-inch capacity. So this flattens one face and one edge. And once I do that, then I can run it through my joiner. And then that happens in several stages. I don't just, if I get 8-quarter material, I don't take it down to finished thickness. It takes me weeks. When it comes time, run it through my table saw to cut it. Like I always cut it oversized in width too, because as soon as you cut it, it's going to potentially bow on you. Mm-hmm. So at every step of the way, it's leaving extra because things will move.
There's natural tension inside the wood. It's the same reason that when we see plywood, it's always an odd number so that the center layer is under the same amount of tension on both sides. And every time you take a layer off, even in the sanding process, not even just in the actual physical cutting process with the blade, you're relieving tension off of one side of that piece of wood. And that can cause a tree to want to do this. And you're working with a tree even though you're thinking of it as a board. So you have a couple really decent sized machines. Talk to me about how you're powering three-phase machines because you don't have residential three-phase power. We're at your home basically.
When I first moved into this, there was no panel. There was nothing out here. So I had a 200 amp service put in and I asked about three-phase power, but it was way too expensive. Like it didn't make any sense. When I got this shaper, I knew it was three-phase. And in preparation for that, I have, there are many different brands, but I have an American rotary phase converter that generates the third leg for three-phase power. Every time I have to run three-phase tool, it's just pushing start, and then I can go to my shaper, turn that on.
So effectively, you have a huge generator motor back there that's running off of your 220 that's generating that 1/3 of the power needle.
Generating that third hot leg.
Yep. Let's talk real quick about your work table. So your work table has adjustable legs, and you were talking about how this top is dead flat. Why would that be important in your process?
It's got leveling feet on it, but the top is a torsion box top that it's got this grid at every 8 inches on center to make it so it doesn't twist. I want it as flat as possible because I do a lot of veneering. And if you veneer to a surface that is bowed or cupped or twisted, the material that is going to come out of the vac bag will come out bowed, twisted. So this has been a very good addition.
And a lot of storage all the way around.
In a smaller shop, having a spot for everything makes the biggest difference.
And so what's the next addition to the shop?
It's probably not going to be this year, but I'm hoping to get a probably 24-inch wide belt sander. Trying to find the tools that increase my efficiency so I can do as good a quality of work as I can, but at a faster rate.
Yeah. It's the same as all of our other problem solving. You just have the ability that you're the only person, so you can constantly critique on a daily basis. Like, boy, if I had this thing solved, that would save me this much every single day in this one step. And that's why when we were initially walking through here, you're like, yeah, we've been here for a couple years, and this is the 4th iteration of.
Oh, this is at least the 4th. Like all these sustainers, I had them scattered throughout the shop, and it's just a pain. And now you do it, and you're like, why didn't I do this long time ago?
I think that that's a thing that I had a hard time understanding at the beginning of my career, that I think people refer to it as like sharpening your saw. Like taking the time to think about your workflow, taking the time to organize, taking the time to clean your tool bags out. I always used to, on Friday afternoon, not at the end of the day, but like after lunch, I always used to dump my tool bags upside down and clean them out for the week, and then put all the stuff back in before I went back to work. And it was like a moment to think about the week, think about the next week, and then take things out that I hadn't used all week. And like, why did I carry this all week? And it made a huge difference after I started doing it and was deliberate about it. And that's what you're talking about, is that taking the moment to sharpen your saw. We're going to come back. We'll have another episode with Casey. He's going to show us a couple tools that I don't think everybody else has in their shop. A lot of people have a joiner or a table saw or routers and things like that. Casey has a couple things he's going to share with us. So stay tuned for next week. And I'm going to say, Casey, thank you for this week.
Anytime.
If you're not signed up for the newsletter, do, because there are too many contributors now for the Build Show for me to just name everybody and say that they all do really cool stuff. I would not recommend watching Eric Ani's videos, but I would recommend watching everybody else's videos. I'm only saying that because Eric's running the camera for us today. So thank you, Eric, for running the camera. Otherwise, now he's shaking the camera. Until next time, have a good day.